Hi, friends. Welcome to Tabletop Tonight. I'm Ruel, and I'm hanging out today with Angela Tao, the 2023 World Series of Board Gaming Champion. Angela, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk with us today. First of all, you're a reigning champion. How does that feel? You are the world champion of board gaming. That's got to feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, it feels more than good. I just can't believe it. I never thought that the title would come to me.
Yeah,
It was just so surreal. But I'm enjoying every moment of it right now.
that's awesome. I was wondering. So did they give you a big trophy, or was it like I don't know, something that signifies that you're the champion?
Oh yeah, I have a huge check.
Okay.
That is impossible to take on a plane, but they're very gracious to agree to send it to me via mail. But also I have a little bracelet and also a ring for winning one of the ring games.
Nice. Do you happen to be wearing the ring or the bracelet right now?
Oh, no, because they're actually too big.
Oh yeah.
The lady who designed the jewelry actually offered to resize it for me, but was like, no, I'd rather be, 24/7 with them. I want to, be home with them at the same time.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I probably will resize them myself.
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I figured, I always thought like it'd be cool if the World Series champion got like a championship belt and you just bring like a big like wrestling belt around. It's like, hey, I'm the champ. Just you go
Yeah,
grocery shopping with it.
yeah, I will, yeah, wear it all the time.
Yeah. Angela, let's talk a little bit about your history in gaming. So, as a child, were you someone that has played games their entire life, or and if you did, do you remember some of the games you played as a kid?
Oh yeah. I always like games since I was very young. Basically, I like anything that has like fun component or win or lose component in it.
Mm.
So I enjoy things even like hide and seek. So I remember was a very popular game among Chinese kids because I was brought up in China. So basically, it's based upon rock, paper, and scissors. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
every time you win, you get to draw a stroke of a tank. So if you win enough to finish your tank, you can start attacking your opponents.
Oh,
So
wow.
such a simple game,
Yeah.
but yeah, but me and my classmates just kept playing it over and over again during class,
Wow.
in secret. So
Yeah.
because we don't want the teachers to see. But yeah, I just love games since I was very young, and out of the games I play, I liked card games and tabletop games most.
Oh, nice. Now, as far as the games that you played at the World Series of Board Gaming, the modern games, when did you get into that? Was it later on or recently, perhaps, where you started playing Splendor and Gaia Project and all the games that you played at the World Series?
Yeah, it was actually pretty recently. I started modern gaming seriously around late 2019.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, before that I played, a few of the classic games such as Dominion and Catan. So I like those games, but I was not really impressed. So I think I played Dominion twice
Hmm.
before I think I figured out how to beat my opponents every time.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was just graduated. I was working in a college lab so I play games with a bunch of university professors at
Oh,
Emory University. So extremely smart people.
yeah.
And I remember it's like one professor who constantly, was amazed by the amount of combos I can pull out every single term.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, even one time he even suspected me of cheating. But yeah, but at that time, I think I knew that I always have a knack for games.
Yeah.
But the turning point was, like I said, late 2019, when a colleague of mine, whose name is Sai, introduced a game called Terra Mystica to me. And
Oh.
he was also extremely nice enough to give me a copy of his game. I remember after finishing the first game that day, I brought the game home, laid out the map on the kitchen countertop, and just ended up staring at the map for like an hour. Um, yeah, I was just so mesmerized by the game. I even, went online to find how I can play that game online.
Oh.
At that time, I didn't know the existence of BGA, but I found this weird little web app that looks like a giant Excel sheet that has terrible UI and very cryptic UI. But I just so, hooked by the game, I actually studied that very cryptic UI and end up playing on the Excel sheet for like 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, really?
Against yeah, I get yeah.
Wow.
So I went from getting beaten by all the AIs to constantly winning against the AIs. I just really like Terra Mystica as a game.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I think I also played Go as a little kid.
Okay.
So that game and later Gaia Project
Hmm.
um, definitely remind me some components of Go inside the games where you have to constantly fight for territory and cut off others. So I think that's
Okay.
one of the reasons I
Yeah.
really like those games.
Now I haven't. I've never played Go, but it's basically area control, isn't it not? Like where you're trying to fight over
Exactly.
the different areas or whatever with your pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like constructing the little federations.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it
Nice.
definitely has a lot of commonalities.
So you've mentioned a Gaia Project, you've mentioned Terra Mystica. Are those some of your favorites right now, or do you have other games that you really enjoy right now? The ones that really you would call your like current favorite games.
Yeah, so I have, yeah, definitely one of my favorite games is definitely Gaia Project. Um, yeah, I mentioned Terra Mystica, but I just think Gaia Project is even a better game because of the complexity that's added from the research tracks
Hmm.
and all the advanced technologies. My other favorite game is Spirit Island.
Oh
It
yeah.
is, yeah, it is just so wonderfully designed, and the gameplay is very smooth and interesting, and also makes sense. Doesn't have a lot of the finicky rules for some of the other heavy games, but it also very thinky, and the replayability is also unlimited based on what
Yeah,
factions you chose.
that's right.
Um, yeah,
You'd mentioned that word, just fiddly, right? Is that,
yeah.
and they have your games that you enjoy. Do you see that a lot where, players may be turned off, or I don't know how you approach, fiddly rules. Is it one of those things you just
Mhm.
have to get through it, or is there a way, an approach that you take in order to make it less fiddly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'm just tend to avoid a very fiddly game.
Yeah,
So if say if you're if it's a big decision tree, if you're here and you can do this kind of things and gain 1 server point, um, it just like it just turned me off a little bit. I do like very simple designs. I think Spirit Island, although the rulebook is like 30 pages, it's the core idea is very simple and very streamlined.
right.
I think I really appreciate that in games.
Yeah.
Similarly, I like good designs such as the crew. Um,
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
I think these are definitely some of the smartest people in the world that can design a game that simple yet that fun.
Yeah, that's such a great example too of something. The crew is so. I mean, it's a fantastic game, and I love that they've taken trick taken and made it cooperative. But yeah, it's something you can teach pretty easily, get to the table quickly. But there's a lot to that game, right? Um,
Exactly.
yeah. Uh, so in a typical day, like I'm assuming you have like game days with friends or family where you get together. What's
Mhm.
like a typical day in the life of a World Series of Board Gaming champion when you go to your game day? Is it like a lot of light games, heavy games, a little bit of both, or party games? What's it like?
Yeah. So I have two major gaming groups. For both of them are pretty heavy Euro gamers. And so we typically start our gaming session with 1 or 2 heavy Euro games.
Hmm.
And a lot of us also like buying new games. So typically we'll start with some new games that one of us has bought.
Hmm.
And then we'll be, spending 4 or 5 hours on those 2 games first. But at the end, we will throw in some lighter games, lighter card games, or even party games such as the crypto. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, always
Yeah, we
fun.
also play BGAs a lot. During the pandemic, we play BGA every Friday night. We
Nice.
also typically start with 1 or 2 very heavy games, heavier games such as Barrage. One of
Oh,
our favorite games
yeah.
is La Grania.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
All the
yeah,
heavies.
and
This is great.
yeah, yeah, and we've been playing Ark Nova a lot recently because
Nice.
all we all enjoy that game a lot.
That's awesome.
Um,
Um,
yeah, and then we, yeah,
yeah, so the question I've been dying to ask you, Angela, is just that experience of being at the World Series of Board Gaming. That I mean, that's there's 16 different games that you're going to be able to choose from. Is there was there ever a point where you just sort of felt overwhelmed by what you're doing? Because tournament play, I'm assuming. I mean, I've only played in a few board game tournaments, but I'm assuming it's very different than like just going to your game day and playing games with friends, right? So,
yeah,
was
yeah.
ever a point where it just seemed like it was too much?
Yes, actually, I think it was during Wednesday night when I was trying to prepare for semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was just looking at the potential, you know, possibilities I would be playing, and I definitely felt very overwhelmed because there are two games I've never played before.
Oh, what games were
There's
those?
Raw and Brass.
Okay. Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I bought the Steam version of Brass, but I
Okay.
never get to actually playing it.
Yeah.
I just got to know the rules, and I think it's one of those, fiddly, game rules
Yeah.
about, the codes and the irons
Yeah.
and the
That's
beers.
I
Yeah,
always forget which one like teleports, right? I think it's iron that
exactly.
teleports and or beer or whatever it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
always forget
beer
about that.
depends on if you own the beer or
Yeah.
not. So that was a lot of headache for me,
Yeah.
and I've never played raw, so I was really nervous about those two.
Yeah.
But I was not good at a lot of the games, including Splendor.
Mm.
So my friends and I were having some last minute training sessions, and I felt a lot of pressure. And
Yeah.
everybody around us are enjoying those new games.
Yeah.
A lot of the games from the game library. I was just so jealous. I was
Yeah.
like, I wish I could be enjoying games right now. I think that was the point where I felt very overwhelmed.
Yeah. Now, before the wars, two questions. Uh, did you play in last year's World Series of Board Gaming? And the second question is, do you play in a lot of board game tournaments outside of this?
No, this is actually my first tournament.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm
Wow.
actually looking for recommendations for tournaments because there's one thing I discovered about myself is like I'm a better player when under a lot of pressure. So
Nice.
yeah, although I said I was very overwhelmed, I do think I'm a very competitive person. So I
Hmm.
do like tournaments. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you know any good tournaments, let me know.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
be there.
I all I know is the World Series of Board Gaming. I know that they'll have like tournaments on BGA sometimes, but yeah, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
really. I think I've joined a couple of those, but that's really interesting to hear. I love hearing that this was your first tournament you entered and you won. I figure now you just have to enter every tournament because you're gonna win every tournament now, right?
Yeah,
uh,
hopefully every tournament has a very good cash prize, so
yeah,
I don't have to.
yeah, right.
Yeah, this can be my full-time job. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
that would be awesome. So
Yeah.
this was your first World Series of Board Gaming. What did you have any expectations coming in, or did you just want to check it out, or did you really were you thinking, hey, I'm gonna give it a real shot here? I got a real shot at winning 25,000 US dollars.
No, like I said, I have zero expectations of winning at all.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my partner actually plan a lot of activities in Vegas.
Oh,
We were talking about going to a water park because, like I mentioned, Vancouver is too cold to actually go to any water parks,
yeah.
during the summer.
Uh huh.
There's maybe 1 or 2 days where it's fit to go to water parks where everybody will be there. So
Yeah.
we never went. And we were thinking about at least watching two different shows.
Okay.
We want to check out the Area 15.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot of plans that we made.
Yeah.
That's just because I just think I will have a lot of time from losing very early each day. But yeah, that didn't end up happening.
Yeah. Right. You kept winning,
Yeah,
so the plans were next time in Vegas, you'll go see that stuff, right?
yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Um, it, thinking about the WSBG, so I was there. I played in a couple of the outer ring tournaments, and I was just within the atmosphere. It felt to me very competitive, but very friendly. I never, at least from my perspective, but I want to know from your perspective, Angela. How was it? Were there any like tense moments, or were there any moments that were really cool, good and bad, if you don't mind sharing those.
No, I think about 99% of the moments are only good moments. So like you mentioned, everybody's so friendly. I've seen, a few very top players. I can just tell by their moves.
Hmm.
But everybody is extremely friendly, and everyone seems to be enjoying their time. And a lot of the players are extremely respectful. Yeah, it just had such a blast.
That's
It
so good to
also
hear.
reminds me,
Yeah.
yeah, what a good community we have. All the board gamers, we are the best in the world.
I agree. Oh, that's so. I'm so happy to hear that, Angela. That's great that you
Yeah.
had that type of experience. Um, and just again thinking about when you were about to go to the World Series, were there any games in particular that you were really excited about, or you had mentioned you hadn't played Brass or Raw yet, so a little nervous about those
Mhm.
perhaps. But anything that you thought? I mean, obviously Gaia Project. I'm sure you saw that on the list, like yes. But any other games that you were
Mhm.
excited or not too excited about?
I was actually excited about Ark Nova.
Oh yeah,
I really love that game. Um, because I just like going to zoos. So that theme definitely appeals to me a lot.
yeah,
But I also think the game is fantastically designed. I just enjoy playing that game a lot. Yeah, I
yeah,
think those two are my favorite games.
yeah. Arc Nova is fantastic. Now, as you go into the tournament, either before or during the tournament, you had mentioned practicing Raw and Brass, but were there any other games that you practiced specifically for the tournament, or was it just, hey, I'm just gonna play whatever?
I practiced a bunch of Gaia project with AI
Mm,
at home. Um, because I one of the other reasons I like Gaia Project is one of the games that has the least luck amount
mm-hmm,
to it. So I feel like I can get better at playing Gaia Project, just by practicing and just by studying the games a little bit more.
mm-hmm.
So I did spend a bunch of time practicing Gaia Project.
Awesome.
I didn't really practice other games. I played a lot of Ark Nova only because I love that game,
Yeah,
but it was not for any sort of practice at all.
got it. And then, so obviously you enjoy a Gaia Project, you practice a lot. Were there any games in particular that were like easy to practice for or really difficult?
Mm.
Um, going into the tournament, like you knew you had to put in some extra time working, or like, hey, I already know this one. I'm fine. I don't need to practice.
Yeah, it's a good question. I didn't actually like practice very intentionally for a lot of the games. I
Mm-hmm,
think what I try to do is try to read upon one or two strategic articles about each game.
mm-hmm.
Um, but there's still other games I don't really know what's the best strategy. For example, Seven Wonders or Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was actually a bit nervous about those because I don't know if there's a strategy to it. I'm sure there is, but
right.
it's a bit hard.
So
Yeah.
uh, uh yeah, and so talk about the process, like the what you went through to become the champion. So you started, there are 16 different games that you could play. You started in these
Mhm.
tournaments, so can you walk us through like each game that you won? Because I know some of the games that you won, but I just want to hear
Yeah.
day one, what did you, what was the first game you played, and how do you go from there?
Got it. Okay. So day one, I signed up for Gaia Project. So I was in the semifinals, but I ended up losing to Brian, who was the winner for Patchwork.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, that ended there. And day two, I played 4 rounds of Castles of Burgundy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was so we played from 9 a.m. all the way to 11:30 p.m.
Oh
in
my
the evening.
gosh.
I was
Wow.
super tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
was
you
a
you
lot of
won that one, right?
yeah, I won that one.
It's amazing.
So that was great. Yeah,
That's one of my
I
favorite
think
games of all time. I love the Castle of Burgundy.
I know. I think I didn't know I win until the very last moment because I was pretty sure I was gonna lose,
Uh-huh.
and through the last half an hour, I was like, oh, like this entire day of hard work was for nothing. Like, why did I? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, but
Amazing.
when we were counting, yeah, the final points, I was like so stoked. Um,
Nice. So that
yeah,
was
and
day two, and then
yeah,
you go to day three.
yeah,
Now, what happens after you've won Castle Burgundy? Do you go to the next level or the quarterfinal or semifinal of the big tournament?
yeah. So if you win a ring game, then you're guaranteed to have a place in the semifinals.
Semifinal.
So
Okay.
yeah, so there are 16 people, 16 ring winners that
Mhm.
will be in the semifinal. Yeah, so yeah, I know for sure that I have a shot at winning a semifinal and eventually making it to the final table.
Right. So they get down to the semifinal. What do you play in the semifinal, and how does that go?
So yeah, basically there are four semifinal games.
Hmm.
It was determined randomly, but also or the win. For example, I for sure won't be playing Castle of Burgundy. So anyone that has win a ring is guaranteed not to play in that game in semifinal, if that makes
Right.
sense. I ended up getting Gaia Project, which I was very
Oh,
happy about.
wow. You must have been
Yeah,
thrilled when that got pulled. Oh my gosh.
yes, I was very thrilled because I was telling my friends if I got games like Wingspan or Gaia Project or even Aknova, I would just go straight up to bed. If I get something like Brass, I will also just go straight up to bed because there's no point, for there's just no point of
Right.
learning brass in like 2 hours, right? And be good at it. So but if it's any other game, I probably need to stay up longer to, learn more about the strategies. So I was really happy I got Gaia Project. So went straight up to bed.
Yes.
When I woke up the next day, I saw some of my opponents for semifinals, and a lot of them end up staying the entire night um,
Whoa.
to study the games.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I think I was really lucky in that aspect.
Yeah. And so, how did the semifinal go? Did it go? I mean, you had you were well rested against your opponents, but I know that I just saw those players at the last couple of tables. I mean, those were all strong players, right?
Yeah, it was actually the toughest game I ever played in this tournament.
Wow.
Um, it was of course opponents are very strong, but the thing is, for this first 3 rounds of Gaia Project, all of us were taking a long time to make our moves.
Hmm.
So by the end of the third round, the judge came up to us and said, okay, instead of playing 6 rounds, which you would normally do in Gaia Project, now we are only going to play 5 rounds.
Mm.
So that was like a huge news because anyone who has played Gaia Project knew that you have to set up for the last round. Last round is where you get most of the points.
Hmm.
Um, that's where you have to set up for the end game bonus and make a lot of moves on the research track, etc., etc. And not being able to have that round makes me very nervous because I have to change my entire plan to make sure I have enough points by the end of round 5 to beat others. So I have to make a few very suboptimal moves, such as making some very early
Mm.
federations. Um, but after round 4, the judge came to us again, said, okay, instead of playing 5 rounds, we are gonna play the entire 6 rounds anyway.
Oh, what?
Um,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
exactly,
Whoa.
exactly. I was not at that moment. I was not very happy because
Yeah.
that means I have to change my entire strategy again.
Right. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, and some of the suboptimal moves I made in rounds 4 is gonna come back and bite me,
Yep.
right? So I have to change my entire plans again. And there was one moment I always feel like I cannot win the game, but I
Mhm.
ended up winning the second place by 3 points. That was like one of the most stressful moments I
Yeah.
ever had in my entire life.
Oh my gosh. I that yeah, it doesn't I mean, I understand there's time considerations for the tournament, but to change from 6 to 5 back to 6, that just
Yeah,
that's unfortunate that that happened. But you were able to get past it and you get into the
yeah,
final. So the final is 4 players, correct? You and 3 others.
yeah,
And
yes.
what game was chosen?
Splendor.
Yeah. So had you I'm assuming you'd played Splendor before. Obviously, this is a lot lighter game. What were your feelings when you heard it was Splendor for the championship?
It was mixed.
Yeah.
Because um, we happened to be practicing Splendor the one day before.
Okay.
We were actually gonna practice Raw, but I
Mhm.
was so lucky. Right before, about 10 seconds before I want to check out Raw from the game library, someone else checked it out. So
Oh,
I can see someone grabbing the last copy of Raw from the library.
no.
And I asked my friend, Lawson, what should we do? And Lawson's like, let's play Splendor. And then we just end up playing Splendor. Before last Thursday, I was such a bad player in Splendor. So my ELO points on BGA is 100.
Oh.
So in order to stay at 100, you have to keep losing, right? So that's just how I maintain my 100 on Splendor. Um, but on Wednesday night, Lawson told me a few tips on how you should play Splendor, because I always play Splendor as an engine building game and
Yep.
going for the nobles, but that's exactly the opposite of what you should do.
Oh.
So he told me about that, and
Okay.
and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply those principles in my play.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so
Yeah.
I feel a little bit more prepared compared to Wednesday when I hear the game is
Yeah.
Splendor.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that final game, it didn't take nearly as long as Gaia Project, I'm assuming, right?
yeah. It's just an hour. So
Nice. So you get there, and from what I understand, did the game end in a tie and you go to a tie break, or how did the final
yeah.
Splendor game go?
Yeah, so Splendor, anyone who has hit 15 points will be the winner, and the tiebreaker goes to the player who has played fewer cards. So I had 8 cards, and I think second place had 9.
Oh
So
my
it was an
goodness!
extremely close game.
Wow, that
Yeah.
again, congratulations, Angela. That's amazing. And when they made it official, what like how did you feel? I mean, did you jump for joy, or were you just like, oh, I'm so tired, I want to go straight to bed? How did that feel?
It was, cannot describe that feeling. It was the happiest moment in my life.
Oh, so cool.
It never occurred to me. No one ever think of me can, yeah, no one thinks I can win the game. I didn't even think I can win this entire tournament either. It was just so surreal, and because I love board games so much, and this just means so much to me.
Oh, it's so cool to see you do it, and you got your $25,000. And do you have did you have I don't know, I'm sure you haven't I hope you haven't spent it all yet, but do you have any special plans, or were you planning on doing anything special with the money, or did you buy games with the money perhaps? I don't know.
I did buy games.
Nice.
So my
Yeah.
plan, yeah, is actually pretty boring. Like intend to invest most of it, but I'm
Smart.
setting a good portion of it to treat friends to drinks and dinner.
Oh,
But also
nice.
I'm saving $2,000 for board games, especially. So I already bought a first batch of games.
Yeah.
I'm looking for more games. 2 games stand out: Nucleum and
Yep.
Wild Tiled West. So I'm
Yes.
really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for you, Angela. This again, it's such a treat for me to be able to talk to you again. I thank you for taking the time to hang out with me today. As far as next year, you'll come back next year to defend your title, right? I'm assuming that you'll be there.
Yes.
For anyone else that's thinking about attending or competing, do you have any words of advice?
Yeah, I actually have 2 advices. The first one is play as many different games as you can. Doesn't necessarily have to be the 16 games that is in a tournament. So me myself, although I prefer heavier games, but I'm also an omni gamer because I just love board games. So if you check my BGA profile, you can see I played about 200 games on BGA. There's like one time I forced myself to learn at least one new game every week.
Oh wow.
So because I think WSBG is focused on getting the best player that is the most well-rounded player. So it's not just like heavy or medium or light game. You have to be very well versed in all different kind of games and mechanisms. So definitely play a lot of different games.
Hmm.
And my second advice is actually kind of weird. Like, yeah, just go exercise more. So
Oh.
I yeah, I run regularly, so I tend to run between 15 to 20K each week. So that's just nothing compared to a lot of regular runners.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely helps me keeping focused and energized during those long hours of tournament playing.
Yeah.
So
I think that
yeah.
makes total sense. I remember watching an interview with the chess world champion Magnus Carlsen, and he works out all the time, and you don't really
Hmm.
associate working out with sitting there in front of a chessboard for hours, but it really does make sense, right? Your focus, and you need that energy to stay focused. And like you, I mean, you put in a lot of
Yeah,
hours during the World Series of Board Gaming to get your
exactly.
title. So yeah, to stay in shape, I think that's a great advice. Thank you for that. Um,
Hmm.
I do have so friends on YouTube. If you're watching this, we are recording this live on Twitch. We've got a bunch of people in chat. I'm gonna bring up a couple of comments here, and hopefully we can get some answers from the World Series of Board Gaming champion Angela Tao. Angela, our friend Panda Angel asks, "Who's your favorite board game designer?" And do you have a favorite? If you do, who
Mm,
is it?
I do. I think one of my favorite designers is Alexander Pfister.
Oh yeah,
I have
nice.
most of his games. One thing about I like about his game is the multiple paths to victory.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are different ways that you can win. It's like in life, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to find the best way. There are just many different optimal ways. Just invest in one path and you can win. Yeah, he's definitely one
Yeah.
of my favorite designers.
Awesome, great. Here's a question from Corthane. A little lighter question. Coffee or tea, if you have a choice.
Oh, it's definitely tea. I
Yeah.
drink a lot of tea. I actually drank 5 cups of tea during playing Castles of Burgundy.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah,
Nice.
coffee sometimes gives me. I tends to be very shaky after I drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
So
Same here.
yeah,
Yeah. Totally.
yeah.
Um, one more question that I wanted to ask you in regards to next year. Is there anything you'd like to see done at the World Series of Board Game? Anything you want to see changed or maybe added, whether it's games or just the atmosphere or things that you can the World Series can do to make it a little more welcoming or accessible to folks? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think first of all, I just want to say thanks again to all the WSBG staffs. I think it's such a wonderful job and fantastic event. One thing I do think that can be improved is such a wonderful event deserves more marketing and advertisement as well as social media exposure.
Yeah.
So I have several friends at home that want to actually find out latest information, but they were struggling to do so.
Yeah.
So I think a competition like this, I really hope it can attract more audience because I think this can really push the board game industry forward.
Hmm.
And WSBG definitely deserves even more audiences than it does today.
Agreed. Well said. Agreed. Well, thank you, Angela, for that. Why don't I wanted to do this, and I hope you have time, but can we play a game of Splendor since it is the game that you won?
Yes,
All
let's
right,
do
thank
it.
you, folks. We're gonna move on over to the table, the virtual table here on BGA, and I'm gonna give it a shot here. Now, you just said that the most optimal play is not to do the engine building, which I've always done. So I've been doing it wrong too. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna take your advice, Angela. We're gonna try this out. I'm gonna try to not focus on the nobles and whatnot. But we'll see, I guess. But
Yeah.
here we are, folks. We are playing on Board Game Arena, and Angela is first up.
Oh, yeah.
All
I am
right.
a first player.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting. So the first move you did right away was to reserve. I never do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I never do
fantastic.
that either.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder now. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play my game. I'm just gonna take some coins here, and let's see. I'll take a blue, a white, and a red, and that's it. Does this remind you of being at the World Series of Board Gaming? Angela playing Splendor.
It does actually. I think I can feel my heart rate starts increasing.
Now you talked earlier about how you had all these things planned, but you, of course, you couldn't do it because you were, you kept winning, going deep in the tournaments. If you were in
Yeah,
Vegas right now, what's the one thing you would want to do? Whether it's see a show, go to the water park, or whatever.
yeah, definitely the water park
Water park, yeah,
and check out some yeah, check
nice,
out the house kitchen. We wanted to go, but we
yeah.
couldn't get a reservation.
Oh, yeah. I love eating in Vegas. There's so many great restaurants out there. Had you been
Yeah.
to Vegas before? I forgot to ask you, or was this your first time in Vegas?
No, it's actually my third time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, but there's always so much to do in Vegas.
yeah.
There's never enough. What about you? Are you going back next year?
Yeah, I would really like to. They had brought me out as a guest, and I had the best
Mm-hmm.
experience. Like you did. I thought the staff was wonderful. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sure, honestly. I was a little skeptical about the event because I wasn't sure how the tournament style play would affect people. And just I know
Mm-hmm.
a tournament. I played tournament poker before, and that's just a very different
Mm-hmm.
crowd. So I was wondering how that would.
Mm-hmm.
It went so well, and I got to
Mm-hmm.
play with a lot of cool people, and I actually played with, I think his name is Scott. He came in fourth place overall.
Oh yeah.
I played in Azul with him, and he totally crushed our entire table. But he was really nice, a really
Yeah.
nice guy. Yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
I
Scott, I
would love
think.
to go back
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah. Scott is actually my opponent in Splendor. I think he came to
Oh,
third place.
oh, really? Oh, interesting. Cool. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. Let me see
He's
what I.
really nice and yeah.
I know that Paula Deming, she had played in the Castles of Burgundy tournament. I think
Mm.
she just placed. I think she might have busted out in the first round, but she really
Mm.
enjoyed herself, and she was saying the competition was really tough.
Yeah. So are you gonna sign up for any of the competition next year or just play
I'll
games
yeah, I'll
casually?
do the outer ring game. I did Azul, Lost Cities, and Cascadia. And yeah, I
Yes.
want to give it a shot. It was fun. I played my best game ever of Cascadia, and I still came in second place. But I was so thrilled that I was able to. I almost scored 100 points. I never scored that high. I think I had like 98, which was so much fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my highest point in Cascadia is like 102.
Okay, yeah.
So
Well, it
yeah.
was interesting.
Not great at the game either.
Yeah, I love Cascadia. I'd never seen the gentleman who won. He ended up
Mhm.
at the end had like 9 nature tokens left over. So you get one
Oh
point.
wow.
Yeah, like I thought I've never seen anyone do that. It was so many.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
His name is PJ, and we end up chatting a bit
oh, okay,
as well.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, question in chat if you don't mind answering this. Daihidio, one of our regular viewers here, they're asking, Angela, do you play at local game shops, or do
Mm.
you focus? Oh wait, do you play at local game shops with random group there, or do you focus mainly with your gaming groups?
I focus mainly with my gaming groups. Because I have two gaming groups already, and sometimes I don't even have enough time to juggle between the two groups.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I really like meeting new friends through bro gaming.
Hmm.
Yep,
Same. Just a comment from our friend GB Glazer talking about the World Series board game. It's nice to hear that players don't get too wrapped up in the competition, but they're still competitive, right? I mean, I saw some
absolutely.
of the best play ever.
Yeah,
While
everybody's yeah super competitive. I played against Nick, who won two rain events last year.
oh
He
yeah,
was extremely powerful.
hmm,
So I played a wingspan game with him. I had one of us had like a raven, and I had the um, so one of the other powerful birds that lets you discard one egg for two cards.
oh yeah,
But he still end up beating us. So that's how strong he is.
wow. Okay, now I don't know what to do. Let me see. What have I been doing? I've gotten all these blues here. Oh, I wanted. Okay, that's what I wanted. White. Oh, there's no more green. Darn it. This is where I figure maybe I should start reserving cards. And I'm sure when you were playing the final, no one was talking like we were talking right now. I'm sure it was a little more quiet, right?
It was very quiet. Like you can even hear people thinking. It's-
uh, yeah, whenever I play games, it's just yeah, I enjoy talking and connecting with folks. So yeah.
yeah.
What am I going to do here, folks? I think I'm going to reserve. Let me see, one, two, yeah.
Doing the reserve game now.
Yeah, I gotta follow your lead. I'm gonna reserve this blue one here. It's so interesting that right off the bat you reserve that 5-pointer on the top row. I have never seen
Yeah.
anyone do that. That's awesome.
It's not working out great for me right now.
Oh, I've got to discard a coin. I'll discard this one. While you were playing throughout the World Series, Angela, was there any time like in any of the games that you played, was there ever a moment where an opponent did something totally different or totally like unexpected, and did it work out? Like I was wondering if like, or do people have like
Mm.
standard strategies for all these games?
That's a good point. I wouldn't say at any point I was like surprised by any moves, but
Mm-hmm.
there are surprisingly good players. Oh, yeah, I was watching a friend play. So okay, let me finish my move first. I was really surprised at someone playing Great Western Trail. When I play
Mm-hmm.
Great Western Trail, when you go to the first place, you can take a loan for $4 at the expense of 6 points.
Yep.
Typically, I would just like go there once, but I saw a guy went there 3 times. That's
Oh,
a minus 18 points. But he
wow.
ended up winning, so that was very surprising to me, and
Interesting.
I was actually curious about trying out myself.
Yeah. So did he do the
So
loans like right at the beginning of the game right away, or was that throughout the game that he did those loans?
he did that throughout the game, but I think it's definitely focused on the earlier
Early.
stages of the game, and he was playing the strategy of builders.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that definitely gave me some idea of trying that strategy out in my next
Interesting.
games. So
Interesting.
what is your favorite game
My favorite
right now?
game, it's a total outlier. This is not a game I would think it'd be my favorite, but my favorite game is Twilight Imperium. Um, it's so epic and it takes all day to play, but something about that
Mm-hmm.
space opera in a box that I love. I normally play games that are about
Mm-hmm.
an hour to 2 hours long, but Twilight Imperium,
Mm-hmm.
I've played it over a dozen times and I've loved every single gameplay of it. It's just so epic and it's so much fun. I really, really enjoy that game.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
it
never
just
played it, but I want to try it
yeah, it
too.
just takes forever to play. But
Yeah.
it's we talked about earlier about how you like games that are streamlined or not. They can be
Mm-hmm.
heavy, but they're intuitive or they're just not fiddly. And I feel like Twilight
Yep.
Imperium, even though it's this huge game, at its core,
Yeah.
it's basically you do one action on your turn and you go from there. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that difficult of a game to learn. Let me take my move here as I talk. And there's my move. And folks watching on YouTube, we are recording this live on Twitch. We just had a raid from our friends DFoob. Thank you for joining us, DFoob. Welcome to the channel. We're hanging out with Angela Tao, the reigning 2023 World Series of Board Gaming champion, and we're playing Splendor, which is the game that she ultimately won to take home the title. I need to take a blue. No, yeah, blue. Take another. Oh, the green. Yeah, okay. other. Oh man, all these points. What do I do? What do I do? Okay. Oh, I think I will go to. Oh, so after you won the tournament, I don't know if there are like champion obligations. Do you have to like do anything as a champion, or do you just show up next year? And I'm not sure if that comes with any stipulations or whatever.
So far, I haven't heard anything.
Okay,
But I will definitely go back next year.
nice.
Um, yeah. It's so funny. Like I was joking to a friend, even before I go in there, I was like, I will keep going to WSBG. Oh, that's a nice move, by the way.
Thanks.
I was joking that I will keep going to WSBG until I got the championship.
So of course
It's
the
so
first time
funny.
you go, you won. So okay, you're done. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
my
funny.
mission is accomplished. Now I can get
Yeah.
to enjoy the event.
Oh my gosh. What do I do? Okay, so I take this one. And now that you've won, Angela, I mean, your friends and family know. Are people trying to challenge you to games all the time so they can say that they've either competed or beat a world champion?
You don't have to do that because people beat me all the time. One thing I discovered is I'm actually a much better player in tournaments than I am regularly. So
Oh,
yeah, during tournament I became extremely throat cutting and extremely attentive. But when I
nice.
play among friends, I was very casual.
Yeah.
I tend to play multiplayer solitaire game. I just focus on
Okay.
myself. But during tournament, I became extremely competitive.
Oh,
So
that's interesting. So you're
so
like
yeah,
just focused on what you have to do in the tournament. Oh, that's
exactly.
interesting. Yeah. Shut off on that one. What can I do? I guess I can go over here. Oh man. Do I want to save this one? I almost want to do this. Oh no, I can't. Okay, let me get some coins. So it's been about what is it? Almost a week now since you've won. Have you had a gaming night since you got back from Vegas?
Yeah, we played on BGA last Friday.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
very cool.
the same day I got back.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and I got beaten.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm sure they were excited about that. But
yeah, I got beaten in a game called Earth. It's actually one of
oh,
the games that will
yeah,
be
really like that
part
game.
of WSBG next year.
Oh, nice, nice. As champion, I think it'd be neat if you got to choose at least one game to add to to what people need to play next year. I think it'd be a neat thing. Maybe we should talk. We should talk to.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So,
Yeah.
what would it be, or would that be your choice, Earth, for next year, or would you have a choice for a game that they have to play next year?
Um, I think I would actually want to play Barrage. I think
Oh,
Barrage is a fantastic game.
yes. The the times I played Barrage, it did remind me a little bit of Terra Mystica. So maybe is that part
Yeah,
of the reason why you like it? Those like different tracks or whatever.
exactly. I think, yeah, I really like the feeling that through the first few turns you feel so miserable, but you're preparing for the grand finale.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hoping the water goes the right places and everything.
exactly. Okay, my hands are actually tied.
Oh,
This is a
I am too. I'm waiting for you to give up some of those white tokens so I can do something with this, but I can't do anything.
Yep, likewise.
Okay, time to reserve. What can I reserve if I go here? I'll reserve this one. In chat, we have Mrs. Green 13 says Raccoon Tycoon would be their choice to add to the rotation at the World Series of Board Gaming. Okay.
I have never played that game. Raccoon Tycoon? That
Oh,
sounds fun.
yeah. Let me see if I get this one. Yeah, maybe I'll do this. That's 3 points though. Ooh, I could do. Oh, do I go for it? I think I'm gonna have to go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, 5-pointer. Okay. Our friend Linnaeus Cabal says, "Hi, hello, Angela. You are my hopeful to win. Castle of Burgundy is my favorite game, so your win won me over." Haha, she says. Very cool. Yeah,
Thank you, thank you.
a lot of Castle of Burgundy's fans in chat right now. Okay, I guess I gotta take this
Yeah.
one. Okay. Oh, wait a
I'm
second.
actually thinking about buying the special edition for Castle of Burgundy, where they have
Yes.
like the 3D points.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. I got my copy. I still haven't played my copy, but I've actually played Linnaeus's copy. I've played theirs, and oh, it's beautiful. It's so nice.
Nice. Oops. Can't do that. This game is not going very well for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking the entire time. I'm distracting you, so
I have my excuse. I have my excuse. I play
exactly.
better
It's a lot different
at
playing.
tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
Nice.
thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. I'll tell you something though, win or lose, I've learned something. I never play like this, Angela. You've taught me something because I always go for the engine building thing towards those nobles. You know, I try to get a bunch of different
Yeah.
colors on there. Like, this is eye opening. This is totally. I've never played like this.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I never reserve this many cards. I may reserve one during a game, but oh my gosh,
Yeah.
not like this. Okay, so
Yes.
now.
I think my problem was I blindly reserved 2 cards because I didn't really like any of the level 2 cards.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was a bit of a risk that I
Yeah,
took.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So let me see, what do I have to do? I need to get, yeah, I can go here. Let me get some of these here. Okay, I can do this, this. And yeah, our live Twitch audience, folks on YouTube, if you're watching, we are doing this live, and our friend Linnaeus says it's a win-win for Ruel either way, because if you lose, then it was to the champ, so it's still respectful. Yeah, I had nothing to lose, Linnaeus. That's exactly right. So
Ruel is playing extremely well right now.
thank you.
I
Thank you,
played a
Angela.
very terrible game. I
Thank you for
said,
saying that.
basically, this game, you're not supposed to play any of the level 1 cards, but I think I end up playing, 5 of them. So 5 or 6 of them. So
Oh, really? I see. That's another thing. I
yeah.
did. I always thought you were supposed to build all the level ones or a bunch of those and then move up. But yeah, that makes sense.
Congrats. I think you got the game. Very
Mm-hmm.
well played.
Thank you.
You should compete next year.
Maybe I will. Only if you'll be my trainer, Angela. If you'll train me, then I will I will go.
I'll be happy to.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
feel free to hit me up on the BGA for
Absolutely.
Pass of
Yes.
Burgundy.
There it is. GG. Good game, Angela. Thank you so
GG.
much for that. Um, folks, I just got to play Splendor with the world champ, and it's been a real pleasure. Angela, any final thoughts on anything we've talked about tonight? We've talked about your journey to the series of World Series championship. We actually got to play the game that won you the title, but um, I do want to discuss just touch on this. I saw a video that Bonzinator had posted where she caught part of your speech after you'd won, and you talked about how this is hopefully I don't want to I want to paraphrase, but I think you said something along the lines of you hope that this inspires other people to go out there and play in the tournament. I don't know if I totally
Mhm.
paraphrase that right, but any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think everybody has a shot. I am a pretty okay player, but I never knew that I can play, better um, at tournaments. I definitely played better during my final game at Splendor, but Ruel played excellently,
Thank you.
even during all the conversations.
Yeah,
But yeah, I also just want to inspire the female players because I think I am the only female semifinalist this
that's
year,
right.
and also there was only one semifinalist uh, last year as well. It feels pretty surreal standing in the same room with a bunch of guys, and every one of them is also very scary and smart and competitive. So just want to inspire all the lady players, the girls, or fellow lady players that you can do it. Not only you can do light games, but also you can do heavy games. I know a lot of lady friends who do a lot of heavy thinky board games. Um, yeah, just believe in yourself and go enjoy games.
That's so awesome. Thank you for that, Angela. And folks, thank you for watching. And this has been Tabletop Tonight. Again, we got to hang out with the champ, Angela Tao. I want to thank her for her time, and I want to thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.